Hello everybody, welcome on my YouTube channel. For everyone who doesn't know me yet, my name is Pedro. I am a professional filmmaker, colorist, editor and a photographer. And today we're gonna speak about the Dehancer. Dehancer is a software created for the filmmakers to easily color grade and achieve expected cinematic look without the long-term experience and the technical skills as a colorist. On the website of the Dehancer, you can easily download the version of your plugin for your preferred system and editing software. It is disponible for the DaVinci Resolve, Adobe Premiere, Adobe After Effects, and now also for Final Cut Pro X. The Dehancer team reached me out to try their plugin and to make the real-life review as the filmmaker. So let's jump to the Final Cut Pro and let's have a look. So after opening of the Final Cut Pro X, you can find the plugin in the FX panel down below under the name Film Emulation. After applying the effect to the footage, on the right side of the panel you can see the plugin features. And let's have a look here. In this footage we applied the camera manufacturer and then we adjust the exposure, temperature compensation, tint compensation, the fringe. Okay, and the next stage is the film emulation, where you can choose the one of the 68, I think, presets. I choose, for example, Eterna. Okay. In my color grading process, I choose the Kodak Vision 3 200T. Yeah. Then it's possible to adjust the exposure according to the print, tonal contrast, color density and saturation. Here is also the analog range limiter, depending on the output of your render. The next stage is the color head, adjusting the color tint in your printed head according your needs and the taste. Shadow tone, cool or warm, mid-tone and highlight tone. Color grain, I choose the smallest size, amount. You can use it as you wish, as is your preference. And then is the place for adjusting the grain, how much is visible in the shadows, the mid-tones and the highlights. There are two options for the grain: negative, which is a little bit more rough, and the positive is more precise, more fine grain. And the options also to switch off and enable grain. The next stage of the plugin is the Emulation, which normally I don't use so much. Blooming effect, the most popular, softening the highlights. Okay, let's see what's doing here. You can see in the highlights a blooming effect. The next stage is the vignette. If you want to use a vignette, you can use the exposure slider depending how strong your vignette you need and the size. Of course, it's better to try like this, to go to maximum first and then adjust feathering. Yeah, it's nice. And then come back with intensity, a little bit more. Yeah, very nice. Okay, so let's jump to the next one, footage. The input color space was F-block from the Fujifilm. Okay, here you can see under the Dehancer plugin and panel, choose the camera Fujifilm X-T3 and F-log camera format. Adjusted the exposure, tint. For the film emulation, I choose the Kodak Hectare. Film compression. Adjusting the white point according to the exposure. Here you can see what we did. We recovered a bit of the skin on the face. Expand. I recovered a bit of the contrast to put down the black point to bring back the contrast. I adjusted the white point to the top to don't lose the contrast. For the print emulation, I choose the Kodak 2383. And on print we can also adjust the color density, tonal contrast. I adjusted film grain to make it more thinner, more fine. Emulation. It's very difficult to see it here on the screen. Blooming effect, softening highlights to make it more airy. Vignette I didn't use, and I keep the output level a little bit less than the original to don't lose the details. So let's jump to the next footage. I was playing with the plugin and I put, because it was shot on the Fujifilm and was shot on the Rec 709 with the Astia profile, and I wanted to bring a little bit more the richness of the color back to make it more moody. It was a sunset time. So I decided first just to change it a bit exposure with the curves to bring back the highlights and to correct the image, and then I apply the Dehancer plugin, and first I choose the Film Emulation Kodak Vision 200T. Okay, here we can see it. It's a little bit more moody, but missing a little bit more contrast. I bring back the richness of the color of the skin of the child, using also expand form. Okay, let's jump to the final stage. After applying the Film Emulation Kodak Vision 3 200T, I applied the print Kodak 2383. Okay, and adjusting a little bit more color density to fix the highlights of the clothes. Okay, here's the print Kodak 2383. I didn't use the color head at all. Film grain, I used the fine grain and the blooming effect, just a little bit in the highlights. Okay, in this area to pop out the highlights of the fabric, and this is the final image. Overall, the work with the plugin is very easy. Of course, it takes a little bit more practice to try out. So I have to say, after the first few days of trying of this plugin, I found it very useful for fellow filmmakers and amateur colorists which are just starting in the color grading and doesn't know how technically to get to the point. And this Film Emulation plugin, it's helping a lot to bring it there where it should be. It's packed with many features, very useful for each filmmaker. I really recommend to everyone who would like to try it. Download the trial version from the website of Dehancer, play with it. If you decide to purchase this plugin, please use the code down below to get your 10% discount. I hope you liked my short review of this plugin Dehancer. I find it very helpful and useful, and the most important, that the time consuming color grading is. This takes just few minutes to finish your footage and deliver. I wish to had more time to play with it, so maybe the next one review gonna be more inside to do each part of the section. Let me know below in the comments if you like, what you think about, if you are willing to purchase it, try it, and if you have any questions, please write me down, and see you next time.